So, welcome guys to the embedded lab. Okay, now in this lab, we're going to cover the simulations of both the software. That is, first we're going to simulate Keel software, and we're going to learn how to use the Keel software so that we will be able to dump our hex file, which will be generated in Keel, into our another software called as Proteus, which is a circuit simulator software. Okay, and we are going to see the demo of LEDs blinking, in particular Proteus software. Okay, so let's go and let's first learn about the 89C51 IC. Now, as far as our practicals are concerned, we'll be using 8051 IC. Now, 8051 IC by name it is not available in the market, so you need to buy 89C51. Okay, there are other versions too. Basically, C51 denotes the 8051 ALU. So the any IC or any controller having C51, that is nothing but in clear words, which is having 8051 ALU, arithmetical logical unit, can be used instead of this 89C51. So since this is 89C51, which is developed by Atmel, since it is easily available in the market, we'll be using this one in our all the simulations. Okay, so let's go and see the pin diagram first, and then we'll move towards the first software, which is Keel. Okay, so this is our 89C51, which is a 40 pin DIP package. What is DIP? DIP is double inline package. Double inline means one line of pins are on this side and one line on this side, and that's why this is double inline package. Okay, there are other packages called as SMD package, surface mount device. Okay, and there is another package, I forgot the name. Okay, so there are three packages available for 8051. So you see, uh, basically there are four ports. Port 0, which is P0, this one is P0, then P1, then we have P2, and then we have P3, right? So there are four ports to 89C51, or simply 8051. So out of these four ports, port 0, you see it is written P0.0/AD0. So this port 0 is a multiplex port. Multiplex means a single pin. That means, let's say this pin is having two functions. One is as general purpose input output pin, and another function as address pin. Okay, so when we have to connect an external device or external memory, we will be interfacing that particular device or memory to port P0 and then port P2. Here you see, right, AD7, that means address pin 0 to address pin 7. Then we have address pin 8, 9, 10 up to 15. So there are 16 address lines. So by using port 0 and port 2, we can interface any kind of memory or device. Okay, whereas these pins can also act as a general purpose input output pin. In short, it is called as GPIO. Okay, so the pin which is having more than one function, such pins are called as multiplex pin. Okay, now let's move towards the another port, which is port 1. Now port 1, you see it is purely a general purpose input output port. Okay, the pins are not multiplex, so this port can be used for general purpose input output. Okay, so you can connect LEDs, pots, registers, some kind of sensors if the sensors are digital. So we can connect that all to the port 1. Okay, similarly, if you see the port 3, port 3 is typically a multiplex port. You see the first pin or the 0th pin of port 3, that is P3.0. Now this pin is multiplexed with RxD. RxD is nothing but receiver data. This is transmit data. Now this this two pin P3.0 and 3.1 act as a serial data transmission. So it is for UART, UART. Okay, universal asynchronous receive and transmit. So this is called a serial communication in short. Okay, so this for serial communication, this is the two pins dedicated for that. Now along with, if the USART is not working, we can use these pins as a general purpose input output pins. Similarly, pin 3.2 and 3.1, this is used for interrupts, INT0 and INT1, right? Otherwise, if we are not using the interrupt, this can be used as a general purpose pins. Similarly, pin 3.4 and pin 3.5, it can be used as timers, T0 and T1. If not, we can use them as general purpose input output pins. Similarly, for these pins also, that is pin 3.6 and 3.7, this can be used as a signaling for read and write. If we are using external memory, we need to provide them a signal for writing or reading. So these are the two pins that can be utilized for the thing. If not, we can use these pins as general purpose input output pins. Crystal 1 and crystal 2, these two pins, that is dedicated pins, are used to provide external clock to the 8051 IC, right? Clock can be of 12 megahertz, right? Or can be of any other megahertz, right? 8, 4, even 2 megahertz. But this needs to be specified every time when we develop a hardware or a simulation. Okay, this is all about the pin diagram. Okay, if you have understood the pin diagram, what we are going to do is, now in today's lab, we are going to interface an LEDs to the port 1. Okay, we are going to interface LEDs to the port 1, and I have given you a code which can be utilized for blinking of this LED, which we are going to connect on port 1. In code, if you observed, we have defined port 0 for connecting the LEDs, but now we'll be using port 1, so you'll come to know how we can change the definition of ports when we see the programming. Okay, so let's go and let's start with the Keil software. Start with the Keil. So this is my Keil Microvision 5. Okay, this is the ARM version. You can program ARM 7 as well in this. So let's go and let's create a new project. Okay, let me expand this. So we have already I have already posted a video regarding how to use the Keil, but let's revise it once again. So let's go to project, new Microvision project. Okay, let's give some name to this. Okay, let's go to the documents, let's create a new folder and let's call it as embedded system lab, embedded lab, right? So in that folder, I suggested you to create a new folder for every project. So let's create, this is ES01. Okay, since this is embedded system lab first practical, so it's 01. Okay, so I'm selecting this folder and let's give name to our project. So this is ESL-01. okay, this will be the name of my project, which will in the same folder. The folder name can change, so let's give it like 01 underscore again 01. Okay, so that it will be a differentiating between the folder name and the file name. So this is a new project has been created. Now we have to do several settings and selection of devices. So here it will be searching for a component. It is asking for select a device for target 1. Okay, so we want to select 89C51. So let's type here in microchip, you will get this. So it is giving the brief details about our chip. Okay, let's select this 89C51 and say okay. Okay, it is asking me startup.a.512 project folder. No, let's say no to this. Okay, so see our file has created Now once the file project has created, once the project is there, you see there is no file in the source group. You have to add a source file, right? So what we do is we'll go to file, say new. Now this new file is created. Now here we are going to write our code. Okay, so my code will be here. My code will be here. Okay, so for that I'll go and paste the code which I have already written. This is my code. Okay, I'll select the code. I'll go to the vision again. I'll paste the code. Now this, how to write the code and all those things, that we're going to learn in 6 subsequent classes, but for now just consider this as a ready code available to you so that we can demonstrate our software. So now the code is ready. We have to save the file. So we'll go here and save, right? Now if you observe, all the folders and file has created inside our project folder, right? So just give a name. So this is esl-01.c. Keep in mind, this is the C code, embedded C code, so we have to save the file explicitly by .c extension. So once we save this, you see the color has changed, right? So once the color is changed, you can see you can identify between the comments, the keywords, and the header files and all those things, right? So it will be pretty much easy to pretty much easy for troubleshooting your code or finding the errors in your code. Okay, now once it is saved, let's save it again. Now if you see still there is, this file is not added to the source group. So since this is the files, I mean the project files, we have to add this file which is esl01.c, which is our code, into this project first. So we'll go to source group 1, right click on this, we'll say add existing files to the source group 1, right? Here you can see that our file, that is esl0. Let's click on this, let's say add, right? And then close. Once this file is added, you see this plus sign. If you extend this, now this file is added. If you double click, this is the same file we have. Okay, now our source is added, code is added to the project. Let's go and build our project. So what you go, right click and build. Okay, you can build it from here, you can build it from here, or you can go into a project and build it from here. So before building, what we need to do is we need to translate this code into our, so the translate file or the translate option, you can find it in project. So go to project, here it will be a translate, you'll see 0 errors, right? Then we'll go again into a project, we can build our target. Okay, so we have built up our target. Just check out this like output remarks. There is no sign of a hex file created, so must be the target options are not set to create the hex files. We'll go to a project again, option for target 1, then we'll need to check device target output. In output, create a hex file, right? So you have to check this box which is a create hex file and say okay. Then we'll save and then again give to the project and build it. You see now there is no hex file written. Now I'll go to project, I'll build the target. Now you see the statement that is creating hex file from the file. Okay, so in that project now you can see the hex file is created. So you go here, I have to move into a full project folder, and we have saved it into documents, I guess. So we'll go to the documents, go to documents, then ESL lab, where embedded system lab, then ESL01, which is our folder. Then you can see ESL01, this was our name of project, which is _01. This is our project. Now in objects we'll see this is our hex file which is created, right? Now you can open this hex file, you'll see the just numbers, the hex code. Okay, nothing much to interpret this, right? Now we'll minimize this. Now since our hex file is ready, that means our code is ready, we'll go and interface our LEDs to the 8051 IC into a Proteus software. Before that, here you can say the change in code. The code I have sent to you here, the LED port, the definition was port 0, but now I deliberately change it to P1, right? So will be going to interface our LEDs to a port P1, right? So we're going to do this in our software which is called as Proteus. Okay, let's go and open our Proteus software. This is my Proteus software. So for using this Proteus software, we need to create a new project. Now to create a project, you can do it from here, from a new project, or you can go into a file, right, and new project. So we'll create a new project. Once you click on new project, you'll get this kind of wizard, a project, new project wizard, you can say. You need to give name to this. Okay, let's give the name. Let's call it as ESL-01 underscore simulation, right? We'll be saving this into a documents folder. So let's go into that folder, browse, create a new folder, or create a new folder called as ESL-01 underscore Proteus. Okay, so inside this folder, let's create a new folder and ESL-01 underscore simulation. Okay, so let's create this folder. Okay, now this project will be under this inside this folder. Okay, so you see we are going to create a new folder, not from the development board, we are creating the new folder. Say next, create schematic from the selected template, and we are going to use the default template. Next, right, do not create a PCB layout, we don't want PCB layout to be created. So next, no firmware. Okay, create firmware and create flowchart project. There are three types of projects, so you have to create a no firmware project. Okay, so click on no firmware and select next. This is the summary for our project. So we will want a default template with no PCB layout and no firmware. So if this is okay, we can click finish. So this is the default window. If you see these blue lines, this is the boundary where you are going to place our components. So this is particularly a few options that you can utilize for developing a simulation circuit. First is this arrow, this is a general pointer. Then this is a component mode. You can click on this. Once you click on this, you are into a component mode. So you have to select a components. You will be having these two options inside the devices. So you'll be having P and L. P indicate to place components and L indicate libraries. Okay, so if you go to L, if I click on L, here you'll see a different type of libraries are there. Okay, so if some component is not if you are not able to find some component into the default libraries, you can choose, or even you can import some libraries from internet into this software and you can use it. Okay, but since we are not into libraries, we'll go and see P. When I click on P, we are having the pick devices or place components. We can search for our components here like we do in Google search. So we want 89C51. If you see, there are the different options. The first one is our controller. If you see, it is having the same configuration that we had in the Keel software, right? So we'll be selecting this and we are keying OK, right? You see a pointer. If you click anywhere, such kind of placement will come. You have to click it again and you'll get your IC. If you click it again, it will again come. You have to press escape, again escape, you go here. Now for easy access, there's this 89351 is again listed in the list of devices, so you can click on this and you can use it right away. Okay, for deleting the component placed in this area, you have to just select it and press delete. Okay, now along with this we need some ICs, we need some LEDs. So we'll go to again component, again P, let's type LED. Okay, now LED, you'll get, okay, let's type on LED. So sign LED here. Now this is generic uh, light emitting diode with a symbol like this. We want kind of animated LED so that we can see the lights glowing actually. So let's see, this is the animated LEDs available. So we're going to choose the red one. So this is LED red, active animated LED. Right click OK. So if you click this, you're going to interface this with port 1. So if you see, the port 1 is on this side. Let's place the LEDs on this side. Right, rotate clockwise. Let's keep it here. Okay, we want another we want another one. One, two, three, four, five. We want 8. Okay. So this is 5. Oh. This is 6. Let's shift this little bit so we can accommodate our components. Okay. So 3 and 3, 6. Let's have another one. This is 7. Okay. Let's have the last one, which is 8. So as we need, LED needs an current limiting resistance in series with the LED, so we need a resistor. So let's type a resistor. Okay, resistors, we need like 470 ohms of resistor. So we'll use this resistor. Let's click on OK. Let's place the resistor here. Let's place it here. Let's place it here. Let's place it here. Similarly for all the LEDs. Right, now as the components are done, we also need a ground, right? So if you see in component, we are not getting ground here. If you type a ground, you won't get any kind of a ground circuit. Okay, because the ground is available here. Okay, if you see, if you go here, this is a terminal modes. So terminal mode, if you click on terminal mode, you'll get this kind of terminal modes. So what we need is ground. Okay, one good thing is here, we need not to provide any kind of power supply to the kit. It is taken by default from inside the simulator, so we need not to provide a ground or any kind of power to the IC. I have to just make the connections now. So let's go here and make the connection with the ground first. It is done. Now let's connect all to the ground. If you see, if you observe, whenever there is a junction, you see a darker point, a node there, right? Guys, I got the message from Zoom that it is going to end in 10 minutes, so be ready to get disconnected and rejoin. Okay, so it may get close and we'll start it again. Okay, so I'm making this connection. Oh, so this is the connection. Now let's connect this to port 0, oh sorry, port 1, as we have decided to connect it to a port 1. This is my port 1. See, this is all the connection we have done, right? Now you see there are 3 4 options here, that is called as zoom plus, this is zoom out, and this is called as to view the entire sheet. If you click this, wherever you are, this will return to like the default view or window view. Now once the connection is done, let's see how to put our hex file into this. So for that we'll just double click this. What you need to do, you have to go to the IC or controller and double click on the controller. This window will open. Now in this window you will see the part reference number, the part value or the name, then we have package, what kind of package is there, this is the frequency. This is the important thing. If you alter this, your timing of delay and your clock will change. So this is the clock frequency, we are keeping it to a default as a 12 megahertz. And this is the program file option. Now in this program file you will see you can browse the program. From here we can go and browse our program. Now where was our program? So ES lab, embedded lab, ESL output ESL01.hex. So we'll open this hex file into this, right? So once this hex file is loaded, we'll just say OK. Now hex file is burned or dumped into this controller, and what we have to do is we have to just save and we have to start simulate. This is the 3 tabs you can see in left hand side bottom. This is run, this is I guess this is pause, this is stop, and this is for like advance the simulation by one step, one frame, one animation frame, right? So let's go and run the simulation. You see, if you run the simulation, I hope you are able to see, right? This is the LED glowing. Even if you see, this blue dot indicate logic 0 and red dot indicate logic 1. So you see this is a red dot moving up and down, so that means we are rotating in the left side and the right side, right? Similarly you can see the light inside the animated LEDs as well. Okay, so this is how we can simulate. Let me focus on one LED. See, this is the LED blinking every time, and subsequently this blue dot is getting changed into red, and this is again red. So this is how this our file is working. Now if you have observed, we have quite a small delay between the two intervals, right? Let's go and increase the delay. So one very beautiful thing is we need not to load hex file every time. Once we have loaded, we can directly go to the Microvision, also Keel software. We can increase the delay. Let me increase the delay by, let's say, by 4, or let's say by 40,000. Okay, and let's save this. Let's translate again and build it again. Okay, once we build it again, the hex file, new hex file has created, and automatically, since we given the location of a hex file to this controller, that hex file is automatically loaded into this. If you want to check, you can double click this, right? This is the hex file, click it OK, but you need not to do every time. Once you like assign the hex file to this controller, it will automatically take the modified hex file, right? Again, let's go here and start the simulation. Now if you see, the delay has increased, right? You can see like it is moving, right? So this is how we can simulate our circuitry or programming into the Proteus software. Okay, so this is all about using both the softwares. You can stop the simulation, right? You can again go to the C code, you can modify your code, develop a hex file, go to the circuit, you can again simulate, you can change, see the effect of your coding, right? You can do it repetitively, and this is the actual steps used in embedded system development, right? So see, this is very interesting figure. This figure 3 is very interesting. Are you guys with me? Yeah. So if you see this figure, this says programming the flash, right? And this is verifying the flash. So if you want to make your own hardware, right, you have to understand this figure number 3. If you want to program your physical IC, not in simulator, the physical IC, which pins you are going to use. So you have to use this many pins as indicated. You have to connect this kind of crystal. It can vary from 3 to 24 megahertz, right? PSEN you have to ground, reset you have to provide VIH. What is VIH is written here. Okay, so every indication is given. So once you're able to read this data, read this data sheet, you will be able to develop your own programmer as well. Okay, so this is very interesting. We wanted to find out the output current from every pin, right? Yeah, this is DC output current. This is 15 milliamperes. Okay, this is maximum operating voltage is 6.6 volts. This is maximum. We I mean like operate this on a typical voltage of 5 volts, whereas the DC output current at every pin is 15 milliampere. Okay, provided the operating temperature lies between the given range, which is minus 55 to 125 degrees Celsius.